guys, welcome to Hot Moon Financial, the home of everything that rocks. I am Mel O, your CFP, and today on Finance is the Other F Word, we are going to talk about The Razor's Edge by AC/DC. Now, my favorite song off this album is not Thunderstruck or Money Talks, a lot of the popular ones. It's actually the one playing behind me, which you may or may not be able to hear, called Mistress for Christmas. I don't know. I just love the way it sounds. The music is awesome on it. And before we get started here, all you die-hard AC/DC junkies, which I salute you, I do understand the irony of wearing a Bon Scott Highway to Hell t-shirt and discussing The Razor's Edge. On other Finances, the Other F Word, we'll be talking about Let There Be Rock and, you know, those types of things. But Razor's Edge was really the album that kind of brought AC/DC back. And AC/DC has often been criticized for having all of their songs sound exactly the same. And if you've ever been to an AC/DC concert, which I've been to multiple times, got to see Malcolm every time, rest in peace, you know that every single song ends the same exact way. Angus plays, he runs in the air, jumps, and when he lands on the downbeat, all the music stops. And they put on a fantastic show. So with this criticism, a lot of the stuff, you know, people are like, oh, they just keep putting out the same album over and over again. So Angus Young was quoted as saying this. He said, "The critics may not like us," as Angus said, "we put out the same album every year with a different cover. But the kids still like it." And actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't Angus. It was Malcolm partially quoting Angus, partially quoting himself, which is actually pretty awesome considering they were brothers and, again, as Malcolm has passed away. So the thing that makes Razor's Edge so amazing is because at the time when Razor's Edge came out, this was 90, 91, we were just on the cusp of Nirvana, or we had just started, Nirvana was out, maybe Nevermind hadn't been out, but maybe Bleach was already out. And so we had this really decadent, you know, decade of the 80s hair metal, again, which I loved. And, you know, but everything just started kind of sounding the same as it typically does. And then, of course, what we had was we had Nirvana come in. I lived in Washington State at the time. Nirvana come in with Soundgarden and with all of the other grunge scene bands, and just boom, just white hair metal, or the metal scene. A lot of people will say that Slayer was metal back in the 80s and that hair metal was not metal, but I don't really care. I'm not going to get into semantics with you right now. But the point I'm making is that when grunge came in, they just kind of, boom, they just kind of wiped everything off. And rock was kind of like, what do we do? Because the Warrants and the Wingers, even though I love Kip Winger, who's so sexy, had really kind of watered down all of the heavy metal scene. And then here comes AC/DC, of course, with the same songs, the same riffs, or whatever the case is. But they came out with, you know, Razor's Edge, which I would say from the Brian Johnson era is probably next to Back in Black, probably their most popular album. Now, if somebody out there wants to pull up some statistics on how many albums sold what, feel free, I'm listening. More importantly, they have a song off of Beavis and Butthead's Does America, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but there's an AC/DC song that is on that soundtrack. It is worth downloading. It is so good, and you're not going to find it on a normal CD. But at that time, when rock was kind of, you know, philandering around trying to figure out what they're going to do, not really getting on the charts per se in the same manner that the grunge was starting to tip, and, you know, we were shucking off the 80s hair metal. And Razor's Edge came in, and I remember I saw them twice on this tour specifically. I had a white AC/DC t-shirt. This is when they didn't have any cute girl shirts, which, I mean, come on, guys, you still don't have cute girl shirts, but that's okay, I rock it. But the point is that make some rock t-shirts for chicks. We like it too. Anyway, it was a white t-shirt, and it had, you know, Razor's Edge. It had the cover of Razor's Edge, you know, just this little part all over it. And I wore it proudly, even though it looked like a sack of potatoes on me. And, of course, Money Talks, and they would drop, you know, the Angus Young dollar bills from the ceiling. And, of course, I never got any, which is still pissing me off. And I think at some point when they released Razor's Edge, I think there was a couple CDs that actually had the Angus Young dollar bill in there. So if you have one of those, like, send me a picture of it. I guess I could just Google it, but I'd rather see it from a music lover like myself. So anyway, for those of you who maybe only know AC/DC from Back in Black and or only know Money Talks, you might know Thunderstruck. I would really recommend you go get the Razor's Edge, because when this CD hit, they were still selling out arenas in the 90s, and they really helped give rock lovers something to kind of dig our claws into, where we were trying to figure out what the hell we were going to do between hair metal and the onslaught of grunge. And so I would highly recommend that you get the CD and listen to it. And then later, Finance is the Other F Word, we're going to talk about, Let There Be Rock, and we're going to talk about all that stuff from the Bon Scott era, who's amazing as well. But if you guys want to talk rock with me, feel free to reach me at mel@hotmoonfinancial.com, or you can always hit me up on Twitter at melrocksmoney, or you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hot Moon Financial, and you'll get a lot of videos like this, and you'll get some good financial tips as well. As always, guys, budget for the fun stuff. Live for today. You never know what's coming down the pipe. Go see some good shows. We've already lost Malcolm. Brian Johnson's out now with his hearing. Axl Rose is supposed to be filling in. Last I heard, I don't know who's in their revolving door of lead singers now, but we already got one brother down. So the next time you have an opportunity to see AC/DC, you got to go take it before all of our rock gods are dead. All right? You guys have a great weekend. I think that sounds good. And rock on. Fire!